I texted him back and said, Lactate. He went, we can't call it that.
Lactate. We might
get lactate test. It'll be all right.
Okay, then you won't see it, but I get on YouTube Studio. They will get I'll get breastfeeding
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense. This is the second episode of our podcast pre-season. And Dom, we have a lot to talk about today, don't we, mate?
Oh, it feels great to be on the other side of the screen and not to do the intro for the first time in my YouTube channel's career. It feels, I mean, it's been a short career so far. I say career, it's been a month. But it does feel good to not actually say it, because the intro is the hardest part and you smashed it. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, mate. Yes, we've got so much to talk about today. We're talking about, obviously, the big news that we are going to cover, which I'm really excited about, is the Todd Boehly comments, which they've divided opinion, haven't they? We're also going to cover the England squad that was announced today. And obviously, we're going to lead into the big news about Todd Boehly's comments. But first of all, I just wanted to say, how did you find the last pod, mate? It was good to kickstart it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we meant it to pull back the curtain a little bit. We meant it as a trial, didn't we? We meant it as a trial initially, and then we thought, why not just put it out? Why not just put it out onto the ethos, the YouTube world, and see what people thought? And yeah, people liked it. The people I spoke to, anyway. Whether they were fake or not is another question. So, that's up to us. But yeah, I mean, it was comfortable as ever, and it just excited and fueled us for this one, didn't it? So I'm excited for this pod,
Oh, same. I've been thinking about it all day, just because I think the way that the last one was, I think it was tough. We wanted to get going and we've been itching to start it. And obviously with circumstances, it was tough last week, but I was made up watching it back with how we managed to get through so much.
Yeah.
So little actually happened.
Zero. We were just went, should we just make a pod? You're like, you were like, yeah, mate. We're like, okay, let's just do it then. And just talk about whatever, we feel like. And I just spurred on some bits, and you did as well. We talked about the Queen and all that stuff, and it was difficult because we didn't really prepare it, so we weren't really prepared to talk about which other person was ready to talk, were we? So
exactly.
In terms of that, it was great, but we named it pre-season because obvious reasons.
I'm really happy about this one as well.
We're a bit rusty.
I will tell the listeners about this as well, because we've been discussing. Obviously, we decided to call these pre-season till we, get everything sorted and get a proper set up on the line and get up on Spotify and things like that. But we've been naming the pre-season episodes, and we've been talking about this one. And I remember it was about 9:30 in the morning, and Dom had texted me. He said, what does James Milner always win at Liverpool pre-season?
I was like, mate, you know Liverpool. What does? I know it's a weird word, right, mate? But James Milner's like a freak.
I texted him back and said, Lactate. He went, we can't call it that.
Lactate. We might get
lactate test. It'll be all right.
Okay, then you won't see it, but I get on YouTube Studio. They will get I'll get breastfeeding
I think that's what it's going to be called anyway.
Questions, it'd be like mother's first 3 months is like the mother.
Yeah,
it's the mother, obviously, because that's what they are.
I think it's time to get right stuck into this podcast.
But what else is there in the pod? Is it? Are we just gonna?
Oh, we've got all sorts. We've got our little newbie features that we trialed last week. We've got
a new feature that we want.
We have a new feature. I just saw that there on the lineup. But we'll be keeping up with Gammon Thoughts. We've had a couple of comments, which is brilliant. Yes. And also Nick of the Week. There's a new one, and it's Dom's choice.
My choice.
But we have a new one, and we're not going to tell you anything about it. We're going to spring it up on you like it's nothing.
If there's anybody new here, please subscribe to the channel. There will be eventually a channel for the both of us, you know, for this pod alone. But for right now, obviously, I'm the only one that does YouTube. Cal, you do YouTube. You have a YouTube account, but you don't do it right now. You have a TikTok. Cal talks football. But if you do enjoy it, please subscribe, please like, and please comment anything below. You will be mentioned in the comments below, unless you're a bot, because I've seen them and they are about OnlyFans. So
we don't like them.
like we say, we are in pre-season, so I'm about to share the screen, and I'm not sure what I'm about to share. So, Cal, we'll talk about Todd Bowley first, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share it just yet. Sorry.
I'm really excited to get stuck into this because, as we mentioned in the last pod, me and Don met at uni, and we have a group chat. We're very lucky to have a group chat of lads that we have kept up with ever since the day we left, and we talk every day, pretty much, don't we? And we
mainly about football.
We had a big conversation about this because it was pretty in the middle, wasn't it?
And not only that, because we're all from around the UK as well. It's not just
so there's teams that it affects differently to others, and I felt like I was a bit of a minority just in the point, because I do like a bit of basketball as well. Forgive me. I just thought the economics of it don't work. Nothing really about it works, but the idea of it just sounds fun. And with the idea of perhaps it being postseason as opposed to pre-season, I thought, it just imagine that instead of some silly Nations League game or some silly pre-season friendly. I just thought, if it doesn't jeopardize anything in the league and it does what he says, which we can't at this point trust Todd Bowley as far as we can throw him. Let's put that out there, because he's brand new and some of the things he said so far are very questionable. But what I will say is it was very fun to pick some squads out of it. Do you agree?
What I will say is that I feel like the noise behind it, the noise after it, all the conversation after it was tenfold to the actual. It was just an idea, and it was a bit of an. I mean, the idea itself, if you think of it in football, if you talk about football heritage. Is it? I wasn't reading heritage. If you talk about football heritage, then this is like I mean, if you're into that sort of stuff, it's, you know, it's Jeremy Carragher and all that says, like, he's arrogant to say he comes into the league, and you know, he needs to understand it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an idea, and people are thinking it way too deep, and like I say, the actual conversation that we're having right now, which will be on the Monday, might be even too late. We're talking this on a Thursday. It's only 2 days after the actual quotas came out. There was not only that, but obviously the regulation thing, which I'll go on to in a second. It doesn't. It just spoke about it, and it's not going to happen. So no. Why are people fuming about it? They need to understand that there's 60 games in a season, and that we've got a Nations League, like you say, that just got made 2 weeks ago, basically, in football terms, and
that's fine.
That's fine. We're playing against who did we play against? There was 4 in Hungary, was it, or something like that?
Yeah. In fairness, this one looks a bit spicy coming up. We've got Italy and Germany, which you can get behind that, but then considering the previous
3, you think friendlies, yeah. Crazy. The other one he said was about the relegation zone. So, what do you think, Carl, about the sort of playoffs in the relegation?
I think.
Do you know what it is? First of all, do you know?
I've had a quick gaze over it.
And I think it's the bottom 4, and they'll play like a sort of semi-final, I'm guessing like a final,
grand finale.
Yeah, so one team leaves, one team doesn't get relegated. What do you think about
that? I think. Listen, it pains me to say it really, but as a Liverpool fan, I'd like to think we wouldn't be anywhere near it. So as a neutral listener, it sounds incredibly entertaining, and I think I'd enjoy it massively. But if I'm going to put myself in a neutral position now and think, how would I feel if I was even in and around that, or even a club that shouldn't really be there and is there one season. Because we've all seen it. We've all seen clubs just have a nightmare season. You think, why are they down
Look at
there?
Everton.
Everton last season. Exactly. And you look at that and you think, you could very easily slip into that because there's no guarantee in that odd. It's like cup football. You think, if Everton are in that, or a team, as big as Everton, like a Villa or a team like that, and you think they get slipped into it, they play a semi-final, lose, have a bad day, they're gone. Yeah. It's one of those things. I think as a neutral fan, it sounds amazing. It sounds very popcorny. Sit and watch it with your mates, but when you really think about it, the jeopardy around it and how painful that would be. Like, if you think how painful.
Oh my God, the last two games. How horrendous would your heart be?
It would literally end lives. It is
the one thing
cruel beyond cruel, I would say.
The one thing I will say is that, like, look at Norwich last season. They were dead in the water. The only thing about it that would be good is that teams dead in the water have something to play for at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's probably the only thing that would say that would be a positive in that.
Could you imagine Norwich beating Everton in the final?
That's what I mean. However, I will say this is a bad idea, to be honest with you. However, I'm going to propose something to you, Cal.
Hello.
And I haven't said this before, and I said to you, I'm going to surprise you. Right? Okay.
And I'm ready for it.
There is a playoff in the Prem that will say it's not the relegation zone. The top three, right? So you got first, second, third, absolutely fine. Champions League. The playoff should be between fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh for the last Champions League place.
Do you know why I really like that? Do you know my favourite thing about that? Go on.
Because what I will say is that teams in 10th place have something to play for. When you look at the Championship, 6 games to go, teams in 12th place always have something to play for unless they're so far behind. Just a little bit of slither of hope. Look at the teams like Aston Villa last season. Look at Palace. Look at Brighton. They have something to play for. The hope, the dream of 4th place, just because they're 7th. Like, the teams that finish in 6th in the playoff always seem to win it. Well, more or less because they have the momentum.
Have done, yeah.
Look at the team, like, I don't know who finished 7th last season. Was it Wolves? Was it Leicester finished 8th, didn't they? I don't know who.
Wolves did well, didn't they?
Wolves,
I think, yeah, they might be.
Imagine Wolves versus Arsenal in a playoff for the Champions League spot at the end of the season. Is there something that's against a team, something that's for a team? 4th against 7th, 5th against 6th, and then the final between them two teams.
Yeah, how good I like it. Do you know what I do really like about it is that you have your generic teams that are usually in and around that top 4 area. Just below that, it's any man's game. That
exactly
on your good year, you had West Ham have a proper charge at it last year.
Yes.
Fell short, but had a great go and played brilliantly for a long time. You look at Brighton this year. Obviously, they lost.
But not only that, it gives teams like, Brentford finished 11th last season. They could they? They could. They can't finish 4th. They can finish 7th easy, and that's the hope. And I think I think that would be the playoff in the Prem. It should be a thing. I think it should be a thing. For it.
As you put that to me now, we'll put on record that I think that would be a lot more feasible and a better idea than a relegation one, because I don't think I'd ever be involved in it personally, but I'm thinking about it and it hurts right now to even think about the teams that are in and around that, because the jeopardy around it and the fact that you can literally escape that bottom 3 and then go, no, you're not
one team and not go there.
Yeah, but the worst thing about it is you've seen it on multiple seasons where a team knows they're safe, so they're like, we are categorically safe, and then they fall off, and then towards the end of the season they drop down. Villa last season was safe,
exactly.
mathematically, and then just started losing games because I think they must have thought, well, listen, we're safe, we're okay.
Yeah,
they get towards the bottom there. I don't know where they finished in the end, but you get to that point there and you think, oh my God, we've got to play off now. And then you're in the worst form possible.
Yeah.
And then just say, like you say, a Norwich team, a team that's already been relegated, starts winning games and thinks, oh, we're going to give it a go now.
Like an F1 team, Like
Yeah.
every team in the last lap, they could put the soft tyres on and fucking.
That's it.
Wow.
You could have a team literally bottom of the Premier League that
Sunderland have 11
just
points.
fancied it for a bit.
Yeah.
And then you have a team that's just about finished, 17th, who've had an absolute nightmare end to the season with a few big injuries. And then the team in bottom place could actually, that terrifies me. I don't. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
I'm a Liverpool fan. That terrifies me.
If anyone's watching FA, who is in charge of the FA? Mr. King.
Yeah.
Mrs. Charles. I don't know.
I don't even know.
However,
Prince William. Yeah, Prince William.
Mr. Prince Charles guy. Oh, is it William? Oh my God.
William. Charles is our new king.
Mr.
Mate.
Harry Kane. Are you watching it? But we are talking about North versus South, and obviously we're in pre-season because I'm about to share a screen, and I don't know what I'm going to share right now. Of it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we are back on now. We had a bit of a technical issue there, but we are back now. Cal, obviously we have got your goalkeeper of the North. So what we're going to do, guys, is that Cal's going to do the North team and I'm going to do the South team because it would take way too long to do both teams. And we have different views. I can speak about different players that could be there, etc. However, Cal, your goalkeeper of the North, which sounds very much like the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So just the stipulations of this. Yeah, I personally went for FPL rules, 3 players per team. I think Dom did a little differently, which was a bit tougher, which I'd take my hat off for because I found this an absolute nightmare. And even having 3 players to pick from each team. So I went for Nick Pope in goal with a bit of a tactical mindset, really. I thought a safe hands, not very good with his feet, but a very good keeper. And he's been a very good keeper for a long time, proving himself at Burnley.
We'll talk about obviously, we'll talk about Nick Pope in a bit because we're talking about the England team. But was there anybody else that you thought of instead of Nick Pope?
Well, obviously, I went through the obvious 2, Alisson and Ederson, but I thought I'd like to save the top tier players for the outfield. So I had a little scout about and went for Nick Pope, and I'm happy with it.
Carl,
considering.
Which position would you like next? I've got right back, left back, the centre backs, the centre mids, or the strikers.
Let's go for the left back, please.
Okay. Do you know who it is?
It's João Cancelo, and it speaks
for itself. To pull the curtain back a little bit, I put Canelo, and then Carl had to, and that's why we had
eagle-eyed.
This is why we had to edit it back and be like, we are back again.
But so João Cancelo for me. Listen, I'm a Liverpool fan. I adore Andy Robertson. But if I have 3 Liverpool players to pick from, unfortunately, doesn't quite get in for me. And João Cancelo as a left back for Man City does.
I mean, he writes for himself. First season he was in the Premier League, wasn't pulling up any trees. But I mean, last 2 seasons you can't not. Like you say, Andy Robertson is the other obvious choice in the North. Is there anybody else really?
Not for me. Not when I was picking this team. If it's going to be an all-star team, I think there should be star players. Obviously, and I think if you're talking Northern left backs, they're the stars.
With the stipulation we have, it's difficult. Who are you going to win there? Right back?
Yeah, go on then. I went with Kieran Trippier. and it hurt.
I don't know if you say it before.
I feel like as a Liverpool fan again, you've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's had a bit of a heavy start to the season. And I am trying to be quite recent with this, with the pick, because of the comments just coming as of now. And I wanted to try and do it as it is right now. And Kieran Trippier, for me, he's just a really solid player. He's got that, obviously, the free kick ability, which is a brilliant asset to have from a player playing in a position like that. But he's got a wand, and he uses it.
It's the perfect room, isn't it, for Newcastle? I mean,
the
early stage of him. And I feel like with Kieran Trippier, we didn't realise how good he was until Newcastle. Did anyone... I know he was good for that free kick, but he was at Tottenham and he's like, yeah, but there's Kyle Walker and all that. But right now for Newcastle, I didn't realise that he was this good.
Yeah, I think that's my favourite thing about him is he has the. You talk about the England setup, which we'll talk about later on, but Kieran Trippier, I don't think he'll play right back once for England in the World Cup. I think he'll be picked. I think he'll be playing left back because he's done it before, and it's because he's so adaptable and he can play in these positions solidly and can also give you that little asset up front that is just, not many players have it. Trent has it. I need 3 Liverpool players. He's not in there. So it's Kieran Trippier.
Do you know who they are?
I do know who they are. Go on, show the world. Right. So Virgil van Dijk speaks for himself, so I'm not going to talk too much about Virgil. You know how he is. Everybody knows. Maybe not too up to his standards this season, but he's getting there. That Ajax game proved that he's heading back to where he needs to be. Rafael Varane. It's a tough one for me. Yeah, it is. And I think he has got there on merit of me having to pick 3 City players and 3 Liverpool players, I will say. But I think going back, and he's doing okay right now with Man United, to be honest. But going back over the years, he's been such a superb centre half that.
So are you going off allegiance rather than
not entirely, because he has headed towards the right direction. He obviously got Lisandro Martinez next to him now, and they seem to have found
Martinez ahead of him though.
No, because I feel like Martinez at the moment is shining due to the players that he's playing against.
Okay.
I don't think they're utilising against him as much as they should. So I think Varane, for me, steady and doing really well with Man United and has been a brilliant player forever. So happy with that.
Diaz obviously probably not there because of other players for City, I'm guessing.
Correct. That's the one.
Centre mids.
I love this centre midfield. It's absolutely brilliant. As soon as I did it, I think this was the easiest part for me. I think I put the midfield in before I actually put any other area of the pitch in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I just thought, obviously, the one that might stick out for a couple of people is Casemiro. He's being bred into this new team now, of course, but if we're talking recency, I watched Liverpool play against Real Madrid in the Champions League final in, only a couple of months ago.
Yep.
He's just a brilliant player, and he always will be, and he'll be brilliant for Manchester United. He will help that midfield as it is. I think they might need one more to bring a bit more class forward.
Man United.
3.
Sorry, Man United.
Yeah, Man United. Yeah.
So you got Eriksen, who's a class act in there, Casemiro, and somebody else. You mean? Because obviously you'd had Modric, Casemiro, and Kroos, didn't you? In that
exactly, and I think if
Eriksen seems like the Modric mold, doesn't he? So you need almost like a Kroos.
Yeah, but I think I don't know what it is with Eriksen for me. I think he's done okay since he started. He's obviously become a bright spark in recent weeks, but I'm not convinced. If we're talking, it sounds contradictory because Casemiro's probably around a similar age as him. But if you're talking,
I think so.
Is Eriksen going to be there for a couple more seasons? I feel like with the contract being a bit shorter, I think maybe Casemiro being in there might be for a bit more long term. They might try and push him as much as they can, and have Casemiro there for a long time. Eriksen might have been a bit of a stopgap move with him being, free.
I think Eriksen's class personally.
He's a great player. I would never say that he's not.
Yeah. So, but Casemiro and obviously Thiago.
Yeah. So the other two, Casemiro, I had to justify slightly, but the other two don't need any justification at all.
It's interesting because when I did my North team, obviously I had different stipulations, which we'll get on with, which are a little bit more strict. I put two players for a team instead of 3, and that's what. So I put in Bruno from Newcastle.
Yeah, he's unlucky.
He will be top 5 in the world at some point, definitely.
Yeah, he is.
And then I put Tielemans, who right now is just chilling, isn't he? I feel like he's just waiting for the summer.
Yeah,
just waiting.
I feel like he was unlucky this summer, to be honest.
Yeah, not to go to Arsenal or anything like that. They're the only 2 that I put in instead of him.
I think if you're looking at, obviously De Bruyne is pretty much.
He's unreal.
Probably the first name I put on it, to be honest. Him or Van Dijk is pretty much nailed on. Thiago for me, I think as a Liverpool fan this season, and I'm glad this podcast has come out after our midweek game against Ajax, because you saw exactly what we missed this entire season, by day one, obviously, when Thiago started against Ajax, because that fella, I saw a couple of tweets and I reacted to him badly at first, and then I thought about it for a bit. I saw a tweet saying Thiago might be the most skillful, best technical footballer I've ever seen at Anfield. The fellow was in his late 20s, so you can forgive him for, when the oldies say about Souness and
But
Dalglish.
it probably
and
is. Like,
but at first I thought there's got to be better. And then I thought Xabi Alonso was unbelievable. Suarez. Do you know the only thing about Suarez is Suarez made his own look a lot of the time, whereas Thiago, what he has about him, where he can read a game before anybody, and he has quicker feet than Alonso. Alonso could read a game better than anyone because he was so slow he had to. So he made up for that by reading the game. Thiago, I couldn't say enough good words about Thiago. And that midfield for me would take some serious beating.
Imagine being Thiago on the bench at Barca, looking at Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta.
And I think the craziest thing about that is, but after now watching him and experiencing him, because I remember a lot of Bayern fans tweeting over to us Liverpool fans when we signed him saying, I don't think you realise what you've signed here, what kind of player.
I know that. I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
Do you think Thiago has been underrated because of how good Iniesta and Xavi and Busquets were at the time? Because obviously he was an understudy at the time, and he came in at a point, and everyone probably thought, oh yeah, because he's surrounded by so much great players. I think right now at Liverpool, he's finally. I know what Bayern he probably showed his great worth, and now he's probably showing the player that they are as well. Like if he could easily slot in that team, and he's probably worth being in that team rather than just someone being there just as a place filler, essentially.
He's definitely learned a lot from his heritage at Barcelona. You can see it from when we were watching the prime Barcelona back in that day, and you see the likes of Iniesta and Xavi, and you see how they play. Even Busquets, I watched a video on Busquets the other day, and I couldn't believe it because I knew he was brilliant. But I watched this highlight video of just some of the best things he'd done in midfield, and I thought, wow, you talk about underrated.
Yeah, exactly. In that team,
he never gets speaking about when you talk about a Barcelona midfield. It's never Busquets that you talk about, but wow. But what I will say is that Thiago, coming from that setup, you've got to be unlucky if you're a centre midfielder.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Three. You're really unlucky. But he tried his best at Barcelona, headed to Bayern. They worshipped him at Bayern. He was unbelievable, and then came to us. And I think we were so excited by the move that it came to a point we didn't realise what kind of player he could actually be for us. So it started off. We ended up, because we were so excited by just signing the player, he was doing these little roles, and we was losing our heads over it. And it was like, wow, oh my God, this is Thiago. And then when it came to obviously a few injuries, Richarlison nearly snapping his leg didn't help. A few stumbling blocks along the way. Yeah. But when you see Thiago in his absolute fittest best.
Porto, was it? Was it against
just when it clipped the grass.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Didn't touch the floor.
Anyway, enough sucking off about Thiago. I'd happily notch him off as well. The North Star.
Let's go for the strikers.
Boy.
Okay. Right. Mohamed Salah being absolutely brilliant for years for Liverpool. Numerous golden boots.
I mean, there's two that are obvious, to be honest with you. Salah and Haaland are obvious, but let's talk about Alex. Sorry to cut you off, but them two are obvious, aren't they?
They are, but at the same time, it's Salah started slow this year, but I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
how good of a player he is, and that's it. And Haaland's been an absolute joke. I don't really want to talk about Erling Haaland tonight.
Alan Saint-Maximin. I had somebody else in my team, but you want to start with Alan Saint-Maximin.
The thing is with him for me is I feel like if Alan Saint-Maximin was playing in a team like this, I think he would be absolutely unplayable. But The problem is, at the minute, he isn't. And this season, he's shown a bit more, obviously. But in a team like this, I think Alan St-Maximin, unplayable, would absolutely destroy whoever is in the Southern team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it would be really interesting to see De Bruyne put balls through for him.
Do you think he has the discipline?
Tough. It's a tough one with him because I feel like he gets a bit of an escape because of how crazy the moves he does on the pitch are. You don't really know too much about the actual character of who he is. And I don't think Eddie Howe knows too much about how he is. I think he's one of those players that you put him out on the pitch, you tell him exactly what you want him to do. And then whatever he does, you don't know. You didn't tell him to do that. He just did it. And then if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, what can you do? He's one of those unpredictable players that, I don't know. When he's good, he is seriously good. And
I had Anthony as my left. I mean,
it was a good goal on his debut, wasn't it? It was a great finish.
But the issue is, I put him on the left, and he's a right winger, but he has a left foot.
Can't. Yeah,
he scores every goal with his left foot.
And in fairness, in a situation like that, I imagine you had Haaland centre forward, so he'd be mainly doing crosses, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be cutting in and scoring. He'd be putting the ball on that fella's head.
Just vibes alone, I think Alan St-Maximin is. I mean, he is the one, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
We all love to see him in a team like that, don't we?
Yes, we would. Yeah. Right then, Dom, we head over to the south for your 11. Please share.
And I'm in control of the mouse, obviously. Here we go on Photoshop. I put Mendy in. Obviously, Cal, you put Sanchez in. So I thought that Mendy was slightly better than Sanchez, to be honest with you. World Cup winner, African goalkeeper of the year. I think he was goalkeeper of the year, wasn't he, as well?
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. So that is easy enough.
Yeah.
In terms of me, I think the explanation will be a lot quicker because we're both Northern, aren't we? So we know about Northern teams. We know how to talk about Northern stuff because we're fucking, Brexit and shit. I will go with my right. Go on. Who do you want me to go with next?
Go on. I have a wing back. Go on. Give me your left or your right.
We'll go with left back. I'm saying Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney, right? Because it's a choice between him and nobody else, essentially. Who is left back in the north, in the south even? That's Chilwell.
Chilwell, pick one.
Maybe Chilwell. Is that the one you got?
No, mine was quite controversial. I went for Tyreek Mitchell.
Yes, but I mean,
I just like him. I really like him.
The thing is, right? People love Zinchenko, but I think Tierney is a better left back.
I think Tierney. I think one thing you get from him is 100% every time, and I respect that. And he is a great left back when he's fit.
Yeah,
I'm all right with it. I just didn't pick him for. I just had to go with a little. I like him.
Yeah, jeez, I'm going to say a horrendous point then. We'll leave that.
We'll stop that.
We'll go with right back, which is Reece James. I mean, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? I think anybody
Easy
will put that in there. He is the best right back going right now. Trent. I know.
I think right now, if I had a gun to my head, it wouldn't be him. But
in a bad Chelsea team, he is still thriving.
Yeah, and he looks brilliant this season. So yeah, I'll give him.
Also, his season at Wigan was amazing as well. As a Championship fan, I will put that in there. I put Thiago Silva, who I put above Diaz as a better centre back right now.
Yep, happy with that. He's just one of those players, Thiago Silva. You can't help but
Thiago Silva never puts a foot wrong.
Yeah, he's just great. He's like 38 years old and he's just brilliant.
Exactly. Oozes class. And nobody thought he was this good until he arrived in the Premier League. And that, me included. I didn't think he was that good. And then, oh my Jesus.
We're ignorant people. And then they come and show their talents. And then
we never speak a language and we never look at any other country.
But Koulibaly did join our league and he's not there. And he wasn't in mine.
I've said this 1,000 times. Not 1,000 times because I said this a few times on this channel. is a signing that's 3 years too late and
Yeah.
way overrated. But a player from the Serie A that isn't overrated, Romero.
Yes.
Quality player, aggressive against the ball, aggressive with the ball, unbelievable defender for Tottenham. The centre back that they needed, making Eric Dyer look like a quality player as well. And we'll talk about him in a second. Actually,
We'll get on to Eric Dyer.
We'll get on to him. It was almost Eric Dyer though. It was almost Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I have.
We'll go with centre mids. I said Rice. I mean, Rice is the obvious one. James Ward-Prowse and Martin Odegaard. Now, I almost put Kante in, but Kante's gone from a system of, or like an ethos or whatever you want to say, like of playing every single game and in every day, and then going to church every night and going to church every morning and going to his mini and all that, to like being injured every day. Like, what's happened to him?
Yeah,
like,
I
so
think
right
it's
now,
tough with Kante. You can't put him in.
There now. If you could put it, obviously you could put him in the Chelsea and Leicester days and all that. But James Ward-Prowse, I mean, the fact that he wasn't in the Euros team was an absolute outrage as well.
Yeah.
Martin Odegaard, I mean, I'm going to quickly go through these anyway because I'm not going to waffle on. Martin Odegaard, I mean, he's finally showing that Football Manager potential.
Yeah. I think the armband has done him a few favors as well.
Yes. But do you think because he was a footballer at age 14, he's almost like he's got the attributes of?
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
He's got the attributes of a man without being a man, which is
and that he's been through a lot, and he's had to take a lot through his career so far. He's still a young player in the sense, but.
So excited.
He's at the point now where you think, right, this is Martin Odegaard as we should see him, and it's a joy to watch. I'm happy with that pick.
I'd have Declan Rice as the one in CDM, so he would be the one in there. Martin Odegaard is. This seems a bit more. It has a bit more flow to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I still think I'd win. I'm not even in the
front
line yet.
Up front, I put on Kane, which is the obvious one, Son, and Zaha. Now,
I'm interested in Zaha.
This season,
I'm interested
Zaha. I mean, Mike, do you know who else would you put in there?
I think what I did with mine. I think I sent you a 4-4-2. And I think I had Son on one of the wings with McAllister from Brighton. Okay. And I think I had Kane and Tony up front. I don't think you can leave Tony out, Ivan Tony at this point.
I think right now Zaha is having a better season than Tony.
Oh.
I do.
Is this our first disagreement?
No, I think we can if we want, and it's an absolute valid point that Tony.
I don't mind it. He's having a great season.
Tony's having a great season, but Zaha is finally showing that under Vieira and the players around him, like look at Eze and.
I was looking at Eze. Eze was in it. I remember when we was drafting this and you had players underneath. Eze would definitely be underneath someone in
I almost put
Chektikore
in centre mid. I almost put in the Everton centre mid, Onana.
Oh,
how good is
that Merseyside derby, mate?
How good is he?
Yep, good player. I'll give them that. I don't give them much, but I'll give them that.
So, I mean, in terms of face-to-face, are we going to agree with the North wins? Because they do, don't they?
I'm going to say that the North splatters.
I'm going to say 3-1 the North.
Do you know what? For the good of the pod and our relationship, I'll agree.
I've got this here, haven't I? But
I had some rugby scores in my head, but
you got Kane coming down here. You got Zaha. Oh shit! You got no, it's going wrong.
Oh my life!
That's what I mean. The nuts have
This is pre-season.
Now, what we're going to do next is the. Do you want me to carry on? Is that right?
Yeah, mate.
Now, what we've got in F C S J B Q C X W A. If any audio listeners are listening, this is just a file option. COF3K.jpg. Right, okay, this is the England team.
We will cut that bit, won't we, Dom?
No.
Please tell me we'll cut that. That is the England team.
That is the England team.
That is the England squad. And I...
So what we'll do is we'll quickly go through it because, we talked about the North and South for a while, didn't we?
Yes.
We'll go through goalkeepers. So we got Henderson, Pope, and Ramsdale. They're it, and that's
Pickford's injured. I'm all right with it. There wasn't any other choice. That's pretty standard.
What we'll say is when Pickford's free, when he's not injured, is he number one?
Yeah, there was a chat on TalkSport today about this, and they asked everybody in the studio. They said, "Nay, after 3, say you're number 2 to Pickford," and the general perspective was Aaron Ramsdale. I love Nick Pope. I know he can't. I know his kicking stats are nowhere near where they should be, but as a goalkeeper, I don't think you look at that there on the screen. I don't think you can look past Nick Pope there.
He played for Burnley. They're known for not passing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're never going to be good.
Yeah, he had no chance.
He had no chance. Now he's playing for a Newcastle team.
We let them stats go a bit, but that is the big perspective with the Southgate style.
He's there just for vibes. No, he's not there for vibes. He is fourth choice, isn't he? Really?
He talks a lot, man. I feel like he might put himself a place above if he didn't talk. So
when he was on loan at Swansea and he was against Blackburn, he gave the Blackburn fans shit because they were Swansea at the time was second, we were third in League One, and I think he did. I don't know what happened, but he's hated by a load of Blackburn fans for something that he did against. I think he threw something back in the crowd, but. Even back then, as a 17-year-old, he was just fucking. Yeah. But is that what you want? It probably is.
Maybe, but
to a certain extent,
he rubs me up the wrong way.
The interview he gave against United was a bit weird.
Exactly.
You're still on loan.
For me, he's just a strange guy. He is still on loan.
What we'll say is we'll quickly go through it. Defenders, who should go out? Cody?
Listen, no, I think as an England fan, Connor Cody is one of the first names on that play
because of the dressing room.
He won't play a game. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, he won't play a game, but he's really important for the squad. A quick shout out from me for Mark Gahey because I love that player.
Absolutely,
he's so good.
Mark Gahey,
and I'm so glad that he is pretty much touchwood established in that team and in also and around that squad now.
Tomori,
yeah, Tomori also. There was a period where I can't remember the exact dates, but he wasn't put in a squad when he was having the absolute time of his life at AC Milan. I remember there was not as much backlash as if he was playing in the Premier League, but there was a bit of backlash, and I thought, well, if you're doing so well, you should be given a chance. So yeah, happy for Fikayo Tomori.
I think what people forget is that obviously England is about form and whatever. It's the best players in the moment they've got to play, but they are a team, aren't they? They are a team,
correct?
And you've got to do it. Obviously, Harry Maguire's right there and Luke Shaw's there, and obviously we know that they're probably not meant to be there right now, right?
Yeah.
But you can't just throw them out straight away because they are a team, and it's got to be a slow process in terms of molding the team.
Oh yeah,
we know how good Maguire is for England, but that doesn't equate to how he's doing at United. I know he's doing terrible, and I know Luke Shaw hasn't played, but they are part of the England setup, and they have been for the last 2 years. And they won't play. Even if they don't play, they are part of the team, and they have been part of a team that has been in the Euros final and in the World Cup semi-final for the last 4 years. And this might be against everything that most England fans think of, but they need to be in that team because of just how the England ethos is right now. And I know there's a lot of people that say that Gareth Southgate is very defensive because obviously there's a lot of defenders here. But look at the amount of attackers that are here. There's defenders and there's attackers. You might say there's not a lot of centre mids, but they are all moldable in the same vein as well. So I think I might be against the sort of grain here, but I think that Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw need to sort of be in this squad just for now.
Yeah, I completely agree, because what I will say is, as unbiased as it can possibly be, is that tell me the last time Harry Maguire had an absolute shocker for England. We've all seen it on TV where he's played terribly for Manchester United, and it's been documented. I will say, and it pains me to say he's a Man United player, but it pains me to say I think he's had a tough do, Harry Maguire. He's made errors for Manchester United. Let's not forget, he got an £80 million price tag put on him by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, threw straight into a team that was supposed to compete in the Premier League from where he was at Leicester, who were doing fine, but it's a different league at Manchester United. And then minutes after, you've got the armband, son. You're Manchester United captain. Yes. I don't think people understand the weight upon that. And I think if they did, they'd probably lay off him a bit. Listen, I'm not going to excuse.
He's had a tough time, though, hasn't he?
You can't excuse the performances. But what I will say is I completely agree on the idea for England, because every time I see him play for England, heart on his sleeve, exactly what you want, centre half, no nonsense, and a few goals as well.
Tell me a centre back that needs to be there now. Ben White, yes.
Listen,
okay, maybe.
The thing with Ben White, I think Ben White's so unlucky, by the way, because he's been brilliant this year. He's been mainly featured as a right back. And I think that's might be what's cost him here, because you know full well about the right back situation in England, in the England national team, which speaks for itself in this list. But Ben White has mainly featured at right back this season. Been brilliant, I will say, but I like him. But he's at back at the minute.
Quickly on any midfielders that need to leave or add.
I'm okay with that midfield for me. Do you think obviously Jordan Henderson's injured? I think he'd obviously be in there.
Bowen's there, obviously. Tammy Abraham's having a good time. Foden.
What I'd really like to get on record on the pod is that you just said it. What I'd like to get on record on the pod, I am absolutely made up for Ivan Toney. He's deserved this for a while, and it's so good to see him get this spot now.
Also, good news for EFL fans. Peterborough get a massive payout for this.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
Is that real? Yeah.
Yeah. When David Raya got a cap for Spain, Blackburn got a massive payout for that.
I like that.
Now,
well done, Peterborough.
Well done, Peterborough. Also, he was at Newcastle at the same time Adam Armstrong was, and they both scored 30 goals in the season, and they were both at Newcastle 3 seasons before, and they were struggling in the Prem.
What could have been?
Well, we're going to go off this screen. I'll stop the share.
Yep.
We're going to go back to us. Okay.
Hello.
We're going to go to a new feature, which we did mention at the start of the pod. Have you got your choice, essentially? Is that what I'm saying?
My choice.
Okay. Everybody silent.
Random Footballer of the Week.
Steve Malbronk.
Muzzy, is it?
Random Footballer of the Week.
Moving on. We head towards the next feature of the day, which I am very much looking forward to this week.
I got a jingle for it.
Jingle for it.
You ready? You ready for the jingle?
I'm so ready.
Is it? I mean, it's not. I've not got it right now.
It's Gammon Thoughts.
And I thought, Cal, I thought right now that you would improvise Gammon Thoughts as a jingle.
Oh.
Do you want me to do it?
If you've got one.
Gammon Thoughts. We love gammon. We love ham and bacon. The Gammon Thoughts.
This is in the bit where we would obviously put something.
Yeah,
else.
we'd obviously.
But what I want to say now that we're back after our beautiful new little video from our Dom is Gammon Thoughts. We've had some comments from our first podcast that we'd like to address because
clarify
this feature we need to clarify. I feel like I'm
clarify
stood up
this.
in the House of Commons here.
It was Boris was fuming.
Yeah,
Theresa May, David. Why am I mentioning old PM?
It's crazy at this point. So I would love to set the record straight by saying Gammon Thoughts are not. This whole feature is not to encourage you to produce your own Gammon Thoughts.
Oh,
no.
no.
Because if it was like that, we wouldn't be on for much longer, would we? Dom?
Let me give you an example.
Thank you.
I was at a football game, Blackburn versus Watford. And this is what my mate said to me. Why do we erupt into applause and scream when we have done a minute's silence? Why do we do that? Why do we do that?
This is the point of Gammon Thoughts. It's not your own thoughts.
Your own thoughts. It's a thought that you have at a football game that you go, why the fuck has he said that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that is
You've
what
been
we're
in the
about.
pub before. If you're watching this now, look me in my retina right now. You've been in the pub.
Look at him.
You've been
His
in the
beautiful
stand.
retina.
You've seen it and you've heard it. Stop trying to say that it's about yourself. It's not about you. It's
not. Listen, it's not. It's about the Gammon Thoughts of others.
Yes.
Now, what I will say, we'll add to this thought actually, because that might have been a poor thought. Why do we erupt into? This is what my mate said. Why do we erupt into applause and screams when we've done mid silence? That is a good thought, actually. That is a good thought. It might not be a Gammon thought.
It is definitely knocking on the Gammon door.
Because it's like we have like a come on, like that would make the team play better. It's not going to, is it? It's not good because that is the same thought as when a corner's. You know, like when a corner, like when it goes over a corner, even though in percentages it's like 3% of corners ended up in a goal. Yeah. Come on, like it's just like that's a Gammon thought.
It's true, and I would also like to add a brilliant comment we had on our first ever pod and the first ever episode of Gammon Thoughts.
Okay.
From Liam from Brighton, who says.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Always friend of the pod. The most common time where the gammon shouts come out is when a short corner is taken and the routine goes nowhere. Never have I heard so much groaning about just lumping it into the box. Hang on. I'm sure they know more than the manager of players, though. Upside down smiley face.
Yeah, they've practiced it all week.
It's so true. It's so
practiced it all week. Fucking get in, lads. Fucking
well, this is Gammon Thoughts. And
this is Gammon Thoughts. This is what
I've
we
been
mean.
there and I've seen it, and you're in the pub and they shout it. And I said in the last pod, and you need to get this into your heads now.
And I've got another comment here as well. Sorry.
Oh, we'll get to that. You turn around, your head, your face becomes straight.
You're like,
you turn around, you think, has he just said that?
But you can't look. I was behind someone.
Then they'll probably offer you out. That's why.
I was behind someone yesterday, and they were like, they were e-cigging, and someone was like, mate, you can't do that. You got to get out. And then it was like, oh no. And then like there's some big like bald guy come, mate, you can't do that. It's like, he's like, I'm not, mate. And he's like, someone's there, like, and I was like, I think they're smoking. And he went, I'm like, what are you looking at me for?
That's a Gammon thought.
I did get another Gammon thought, and it is a comment that's privated, actually.
Oh.
Gammon thought, young and hungry, in quotations, implying that when you turn 24, you cannot be asked
with anything.
Just like when you describe a player that's young and hungry, they're not going to be like just normal
yeah.
and hungry. Implying that when they're 24, they're just like,
Yeah.
I can't be asked, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right now.
Because that's what I see a lot. I see that a lot. Like,
old and fed.
Bowden, he's young and he's hungry. It's like, yeah, but everyone's fucking hungry. Like, it's just a fucking gammon thought.
I'm definitely with that. That is entering the gammon vault, I think, for me. And do you know what,
guys, we need to explain this, Cal. In the comments below, we need your gammon thoughts.
Yeah.
Not only in terms of football, but just in life as well. Because it's so funny listening to, just in general, just listen to people like with their gammon thoughts. It's just so funny listening to it.
And that's it. And I hope that we haven't gone on the wrong foot with you all, because the various messages that we've received since are, I like the feature, but it's not about us personally, is it? And I think
no,
mate, it's not about you. It's about what you've experienced in your day-to-day life and what you've seen at the football and what you've seen outside of football. Anything that might jump onto this podcast and make us laugh, because that's what it's all about. Gammon Thoughts is about airing the silly, stupid comments that you've seen from a gammon, a rare gammon sighting that makes us laugh. And that's what it's all about. So have no fear. Send your messages in. Okay. Let's have some comments and let's go with that.
Okay, Cal, you've got the jingle next. You got to sing it.
Have I?
Yeah, you have to. Go on.
She is the Neek of the week.
She is the Neek of the week.
Okay, so it is time for Neek of the week.
Neek of the week. Everybody. Yeah.
There it is. So last week, as you will remember, I disclosed the first ever Neek of the week on the Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense podcast, and unfortunately went to our good friend Graham Potter, who had a slightly below par week in the Champions League.
It's turned out well for Neek of the week.
However, it added to it, definitely.
What we'll say is we're sort of discussing whether we want to do Neek of the week. We might do, what we're thinking of doing is Neek of the week, but it might be like a sort of like monthly thing, Neek of the month sort of thing. Mm-hmm. We want to do Hall of Fame. We want to do Hall of Fame for every week because it's a bit more positive, but a bit more of a vibe. Neek of the week's a bit cynical, isn't it? However, I've got a Neek of the week.
So we have a Neek of the week. So what the plan is that we're going to introduce a Hall of Fame where whoever we decide for that week, that month, whatever it becomes from the pod, they will be installed forever on screen in a Hall of Fame or Shame, however you would like to describe it. But whilst we're here and it's pre-season and we're mid-lactate,
we are pretty... Forgot about that
one. we are here, and this is Dom Meadowcroft's Neek of the week.
Now, I'm a pretty positive guy, and I struggled for this one all week, and I thought today, who is Neek of the week? And like we talked about the England team. And we talked about the England team. Who chooses the England team? It's Gareth Southgate. However, it's not Gareth Southgate.
Oh.
When we talk about Gareth Southgate right now, we talk about him in a negative term because he's not had a great time. And people are like, let's get him sacked because he's having a negative term. When did people like Gareth Southgate, Cal? Was it in 2018 in the World Cup?
Yeah, I think
liked him.
Euros was okay.
No. The World Cup was all right. World Cup when we got to the final. The semi-final. Even when we got to the final of the Euros, people weren't liking Gareth Southgate, were they? They weren't really liking him. But in that World Cup, when we had no expectations, he was loved.
Yeah.
What did he have?
He had a waistcoat.
Now,
surely the waistcoat of Gareth Southgate is not your Neek of the week.
It's not. It's not. It's not.
That's the
It's not.
clip for the start of the video, by the way.
It's not the waistcoat of Gareth Southgate. It's the stylist of Gareth Southgate. Now,
Oh my god.
because since then, has he been a bit of a hated man? Yes, he has. What is the difference between that World Cup and every other time he's been a manager? Literally, the waistcoat.
Yeah.
So, my Nick of the week is Gareth Southgate's stylist.
Can we find out who that is? Surely there's a way.
I mean, there might be a way. I'm not too sure, but
I think we can do that.
it's a bit of a cop out.
I like it. I'm
Yeah.
with it.
It's a good
It's
story.
like Potter
wasn't it?
last week. Listen,
It's a good story, wasn't it?
for all we care, Trevor Sinclair got off fucking lucky last week, by the way.
Pod bullied it this week.
yeah. And so, listen, we're being fair here. We're thinking outside the box for the good
And
listeners
this is
of this
why-
podcast.
And this is why we want the Hall of Fame, because it's a lot easier to speak about someone rather than Nick of the Week, because it's hard to be judgmental, but in a funny way.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's what we want
Gareth
to do
Southgate,
here.
stylist. I mean, these two players. I mean, Gareth, what's it called? Potter and Gareth Southgate, stylist, will both be in the Hall of Fame for next week. That will be our new segment, Hall of Fame.
Yeah, get them. in there.
However, Cal, have we got any other bits that we want to talk about this week? Have we got any questions you want to talk about? Have we got any things?
What I would really like to encourage the listeners to do is to please understand that comments and things like that and sharing, sending this pod across helps us dearly. You would never understand how much it helps us. And to be fair, I will be fair, our friends and people around us have been brilliant so far, but
Comments.
hey,
do help.
yeah, you have features that you can comment on and literally become a part of this pod, like our good friend Liam from Brighton,
Thank you, Liam.
who is now in the pod.
He is
You
now
can
part
all
of
be the
pod.
same as Liam, and you can enter the vault of you are in the pod. It's
Pod is-
easy.
Liam is now part of the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, we could put him in there, really, couldn't we?
Yeah, well,
Well, in fairness, though, he could potentially be a Nick of the Week one day. So, you know,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
If he plays his cards wrong. But yeah, and that's one thing I would love to add is people listening, please leave a comment, get involved, share it, knock it about. And obviously it's brilliant getting more people involved with the podcast. But if you're watching and listening, give us a comment. You know, it helps our content, you know. It helps
we've got
us.
ideas. We've got ideas. We've got like obviously things we want to talk about football wise and whatnot. And we have bits that we want to talk about as well. But obviously the second half of the pod is driven by the comments as well. Because, you know, Gavin Thoughts and Nick of the Week and Hall of Fame, obviously, we thought about ourselves, but it does help when we get comments. You know, it does provide these bits, like we said, like, and we're sort of pulling back the curtain a little bit here. We really do appreciate all the sort of feedback that we get as well, whether bits good or bad, you know, and it's easy to talk about football at the end of the day, but
Yeah.
this is what we love and this is what we want to do. Now, Cal, last question.
Final one.
Yeah. What brand? What is this shirt?
I'm going for Flamengo.
Wrong.
Oh,
It's the other one.
who is it?
It's the other one.
I don't know.
Luminese.
Ah,
Fluminense.
Fluminense.
That sounds like a swear word,
You might have to start the next pod with a forfeit for me. Which club did Bobby Firmino start at? Because if it's that one, then I should, you know, I need a timeout. Gutted.
That's a good bit actually.
Yeah.
What should we have a couple of questions for each other?
Oh yes, I've thought about this for a while, about just little questions that basically we're there to fuck each other over, really. Like we've Googled the answer, we know the answer full well, but the other one has not a clue. And if they pull a rabbit out of the hat, then it's celebrated. If not, it wasn't really expected anyway. That's something to look forward to next week.
It is.
But yes, people, That is the big thing for me is, please, if you're listening, if you're watching, please send us a comment. But
And also,
thank you for
guys,
listening.
If you love the pod, please share it around. Like it's there's only so much sharing me and Cal can do on Twitter, on Instagram, and all that. Follow the pod on this channel.
We are everywhere now. So from this point on, we will be all over the shop. We've got an account for everywhere. It's at Talk Nonsense Pod on everywhere, but Instagram is Talk Nonsense _pod, because some ignorant soul decided to take the app that we had and everything else.
Absolutely.
I don't know what for. I searched it. There was 0 followers, 0 posts,
Just
0
like
nothing. Well, at the minute. So, yes, if you can give us a follow, that would be brilliant. And then also, please get involved. If you are here and you are listening at this point, thank you. Please get involved, because it helps us so much. You will never understand how much it helps us. Thank you, guys. All the best.
Good night.